Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the spotlight session on addressing the energy trilemma and energy sector resilience in India, innovative approaches. Let me start the session by inviting Dr. Priyantha Vijaytung, Director of the South Asia Energy Division of ADB, to give you the opening remarks. After that, I would start the panel discussion and I'll introduce the panelists after the opening remarks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pradeep. Once again, good morning to all of you. From my side also, let me welcome all of you to this virtual Asia Clean Energy Forum, virtual for the first time in 15 of its time, and also particularly to the spotlight session on India energy sector operations. India, as all of us know, is the third largest energy consumer in the world after China and the US. It is also ADB's largest borrower, and most of the borrowings come from clean energy sector. It's a major component. And ADB's ongoing energy portfolio is roughly about 5 billion in India. And ADB's annual commitment to Indian energy sector is in the range of about 1 billion to 1.5 billion, depending on the commitments we have every year. And this includes both sovereign and non-sovereign investments. Of course, non-sovereign investments come without government guarantee. Traditionally, ADB has been focusing on transmission sector, as all of you know, to strengthen the national grid, both interstate as well as intrastate. ADB has made strong interventions to improve the connectivity between renewable energy-rich regions and the load centers through green corridors. It is also financing interstate transmission network in renewable energy resource-rich states such as Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh. These investments played a significant role in India's success story of integrating over 85,000 megawatts so far of renewable energy capacity into the national grid. ADB has also supported selected private sector renewable energy developers through IREDA and also directly through our own non-sovereign financing window. A few years ago, ADB started paying more attention to the distribution sector, which we have not been doing for many years. This gave us an opportunity to directly support the government's strong focus on increasing access. At the same time, it was an opportunity to help improving the financial sustainability of this important sector. Feeder separation, high voltage distribution, smart meters, conversion to aerial bundle conductors are some of the initiatives that we have been supporting in Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, and Meghalaya in recent times. These investments are closely aligned with government's own programs. Until recently, our assistance has been minimal in the demand side, energy efficiency improvement. We have been neglecting this particular subsector for a long, long time, not just in India, but also across the band. However, we have now strong involvement in this very important area of the clean energy sector. ADB is supporting end-user energy efficiency improvement through its pioneering assistance to Energy Efficiency Services Limited. You will hear about it later from Saurabh in its own programs like energy efficient street lighting, energy efficient motors, smart meters, and distributed solar, etc. I'm sure all these programs, along with much bigger national efforts, will be elaborated more during the panel discussion with these eminent panel of speakers. Let me thank the eminent panel of speakers for agreeing to be here today in this session and to share their thoughts. With these few words, I will now hand this mic back to Pradeep to moderate the discussion from here onwards. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Priyantha. Let me start the session by introducing our panelists. Mr. Anil Srivastava is a Senior India Administration Service Officer, currently functioning as the Mission Director on Transformative Mobility and Battery Storage, India's premier planning body, Niti Aayog. He has led senior positions in Niti Aayog, Indian central government, as well as in the state government, and has headed a number of public sector enterprises. Mr. Srivastava is an internationally recognized thought leader in policy formulation for transforming or transition to electric vehicles, and is spearheading India's ambitious plans for e-mobility and electric vehicles. Then we have Mr. Pankaj Batra, who is the ex-chairman of Central Electricity Authority, the main technical and planning body on electricity sector in India. He's currently the project director of South Asia Regional Initiative on Energy Integration, SARI program of USA. Mr. Batra has a rich background in transmission and generation planning and approval of large projects and national tariff policy for interstate projects, and he has hands-on experience in Indian grid management. Mr. Batra has led the team that revised the Indian electricity grid code to facilitate the renewable energy integration. Recently, he has headed the technical committee on grid-scale energy storage and expert committee to prepare energy sector vision document for Government of India. Then we have Mr. Jayendra Swain, and he's a senior Indian Administration Service Officer, and he's the chairman and managing director of the Solar Energy Corporation of India, the SECI. It is the key implementing agency of National Solar Mission of India, which succeeded in adding more than 40,000 megawatts of solar capacity in the last 5 years. Prior to that, Mr. Swain was the Joint Secretary at Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Mr. Swain will be talking about India's highly successful solar park program spearheaded by SECI. Then we have Mr. Rajesh Gowda. He's an Indian Administration Service Officer, currently heading the Bangalore Electricity Supply Company, DISCOM, which is responsible for electricity supply in India's tech and IT hub, Bangalore. And DISCOM is one of the most technically advanced and profitable DISCOMs in India and has pioneered the smart grid applications in urban power supply in Indian context. Last but not least, we have Mr. Saurabh Kumar. Priyanka has already mentioned about Mr. Kumar's contribution to energy efficiency improvement in India. He's an Indian Revenue Service Officer and a graduate of the prestigious IIT Kanpur. Mr. Saurabh Kumar is the founder CEO of the Energy Efficiency Service Limited, established by the Indian government to promote demand-side energy efficiency through demand aggregation. The Energy Efficiency Service Limited has pioneered several innovative business models to achieve energy efficiency improvement in residential, agriculture, and municipal sector, and currently is heading the national mission for enhanced energy efficiency. So, after this discussion, let me start the panel discussion by posing a question to Mr. Srivastava. Basically, India has made a strong commitment to shift its energy sector to low carbon trajectory through a significant increase in investment in renewable energy and energy efficiency. What are the key policy drivers, in your opinion, that prompted the Indian government to adopt clean energy in a significant scale? Is it energy security, energy affordability, or the sustainability? Over to Mr. Srivastava.
Thank you, Pradeep, and a very good morning to everybody whoever is participating in this discussion. The commitment of the Government of India is very clear and right from the apex levels, and two very significant and important steps which were taken were organizing the MOVE Summit somewhere in September 2018 and India's participation in the Solar Alliance. So these are the two very important decisions, and the commitment is absolutely evident from the policy decisions taken. Now, what the government has done in terms of the policy initiatives to encourage investments. Now, let me make it very clear: the investments have to be there, and they would be there in this entire ambit of activities, simply because it offers a tremendous business opportunity. It's not that the investments are from the public sectors only or from the government only, but there's a lot of investment which are coming through from the industry participants and or the global participants. So that is one thing which I would like to make it clear right in the beginning, that it's a business opportunity, it's a business model which is to be which is being followed and which is being adopted by the all. Now, the policy incentives which we took were the fiscal incentives, non-fiscal incentives, various policy pronouncements by various ministries, and the phased manufacturing programs which we launched through the Department of Heavy Industries, the localization norms, our emphasis on the largest value addition in the manufacturing of the electric vehicles and the entire segment, not only the electric vehicles, but even the batteries and the solar generation activities. Then we were trying to come out or get through with a very ambitious cell manufacturing program, and the decision is going to be taken at the level. But meanwhile, this disruption, which has come up as a pandemic, has slowed down a little bit on those counts. But prior to the pandemic, we were talking about the major disruptions which were going to take place by the battery storage, by the batteries, by the electric vehicles, by the autonomous vehicles, by the transport as a service, and the redundancy of the grid structure in the country. So all these disruptions we were talking about, and we were welcoming these disruptions in the interest of the country, India as a country. But meanwhile, this pandemic, the bigger disruption which came as a pandemic, probably has given us an opportunity to think in a different way. And I must say that this has provided this pandemic has provided us with a bigger and a greater opportunity. Now, so these were the policy initiatives as you were asking about. But India is ranking pretty low in terms of the trilemmas which are there, like whether it is the sustainability or whether it is the affordability and whether it is the energy security. Now, we have to have all the three taken into account while we plan our policies and take our steps. And something very encouraging which is emerging in the country is the cost of storage and the cost of generation from the renewable energy and the non-conventional sources of energy, even from the hydro, is coming out to be even less expensive or the more economical than the sources of energy which are the conservative sources of energy. Now we are planning a strong commitment for 175 gigawatt hour of the solar energy by 2022 and nearly 500 gigawatt hour of the solar energy addition by 2030, and leading to about 40% of our clean energy contribution to the energy mix in the country. So these are the major policy initiatives. Decisions have been taken. Now coming back to the fiscal incentives which were decided or which were kind of came out by the Department of Heavy Industries through the policy named as the FAME. Now, there could be a thought, I mean, I would say rather on a personal note that there could be incentives or there could be incentives from the supply side as well, not only from the demand side, and that could also be looked into. So this is a mix of very strong commitment from the Indian government to take forward the clean energy contribution towards not only to the mobility but towards the energy requirement of the country. One thing is very important, which I would like not to forget, is that India as a country is different. Yes, of course, ADB is contributing, or even the other organizations are contributing for our energy mix and for our contributing to the clean energy drive. But as a country, we cannot ignore the mix of our automobile usage, or even in the mix of our energy resources, and our desire to be provided 24/7 and consistent energy security to the countryside. Now, we cannot ignore, and whatever we do, we have to take into account the Indian conditions in perspective. What generally happens is that when we talk about the electric vehicles mobility, we generally tend to take it from what the work or the research or the data which is there from the other developed countries, or coming from the other sources, whereas it is different in the Indian context. We have to put focus not only on the electric vehicles but also on the shared mobility. We cannot forget that our per kilometer per capita ride size is less than 5 kilometers. We cannot ignore that our contribution to the non-motorized transport is pretty higher than any other similar size of economy in the world. So these are the things which cannot be ignored, and the policy pronouncements or the policy decisions have to come out taking into.
Mr. Srivastava, I think probably for the interest of the time, let's sort of stop at this, and then I will ask the other panelists to sort of give their sort of feedback on your response for a few minutes, and then we'll move into the next question. I mean, you will get another chance to sort of elaborate the, yeah. Is there any sort of intervention from the other panelists with respect to the response that has been given by Mr. Srivastava regarding?
Yes, Pradeep, can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Okay. So, the National Electricity Policy, which came out in 2005, followed by the tariff policy in 2006 in India, itself had the beginnings of encouraging renewable energy in India, where it was more from the energy security point of view and sustainability. And then the Jala Nehru solar mission came out in 2010, which tried to give a further fillip and incentives for renewable energy. But the costs were high. So the affordability came later, when the prices of solar dropped from around 17 rupees, which was cost plus tariff in around 2009-10, and kept on dropping when competitive bidding came in. It kept on dropping from 17 to 12 to 11 to 10 to 8, 7, and then finally came down as low as 244. So affordability came later after. Again, the government increased the target of 20,000 megawatt by 2022 to 100,000, 5 times. So it initially came as security and sustainability.
Thank you very much. I would like to know, I would like to, please.
Just to add what Mr. Batra was saying right now, the Ministry of Power has recently, about a week back, come out with supporting various kind of business models which could be there as a energy supplying for the vehicles. Now, it could be a battery swapping model. It could be a separate OEM supplying the battery or the source of energy to the vehicle. The idea is that we compare a vehicle without source of energy, internal combustion, and the electric vehicle. Then electric vehicle scores much higher than the internal combustion engine vehicle. And Ministry of Power has been very proactive, and they have recently come out with all kind of tariff regulations as to what kind of a tariff structure should be there for the battery swapping and other models where the energy is supplied to the battery from a different source rather than the consumer who doesn't have to buy the battery, which is currently the 35 to 40% or the 30% of the cost of the vehicles. That's an excellent initiative by the Ministry of Power.
Yeah. So when would you expect to see a large-scale proliferation of electric cars in Indian market? As of it is, electric cars are not widely available. But when do we think that we would have that transition happening, where most of the cars sold in India would be electric cars? I think with that, I would bring the question of energy access. The government of India has launched the Saubhagya scheme a couple of years ago, and they have achieved new connections of 30 million households to the grid under the scheme between 2018 and 2019. This is actually a world record. I think no other country has achieved such a large-scale rural electrification in such a short time. But I think the issue of affordability is also there, especially under the current circumstances when we have a lot of disruptions to the incomes of rural people. So once you achieve the sort of large-scale electrification of rural households, who probably would not have income to make the cost recovery tariff, how can we sort of address this issue, especially the affordability and energy access, the kind of the nexus? I think this is an open question I would like to raise to the panelists. I would like to see your views on this.
Rajesh Gowda here from DISCOM. So from the this question more relevant to distribution company. So if you look at DISCOM, like the cost to serve is like 7.84, while the highest tariff on the domestic sector itself is what we are raising is about 7.80. So most of that we are cross-subsidizing on industrial and commercial. So even when in this COVID time, when we gave a 2-month bill, there was a lot of hue and cry where not only the poor households, even the middle class and the mid segment also raised hue and cry that the tariff charges were, they could not bear the tariff because they were at home. So this calls for really bringing down the energy charges on this domestic sector, where most of them are not. I mean, the affordability issue is big. So I would feel that clean energy will be the fulcrum of bringing down price. And I would like to differ with the ESL chief when the levelized tariff he said was 3.50. So, but what we have the price discovery for us about 2 years back, which is a levelized tariff of 2.85. DISCOM is a good paymaster. We have never defaulted on any of our payments to any of our IPPs. So we are expecting, at least when we go with this 10,000 megawatt reverse bidding, we hope to get 2.40. That would bring down the price cost of power purchase for DISCOM. That's what we are thinking. And secondly, what I would be advocating is aggressive participation in the energy markets, so that the DSM charges will come down and optimal cost can be dispatched into the system, so that the power purchase price for DISCOMs will come down and energy charges can be reduced. And the third is that the NLDC, and the merit-based economic dispatch can happen, where self-scheduling is happening only about, can be reduced about 30%. The remaining can all be under merit order dispatch, and the visibility throughout the country will be available for the distribution company. So as of now, the state load dispatch center, I think high cost power is dispatched into the system. So all these three, I think, would bring down power purchase cost, and we can bring down energy prices by, if it comes, we can bring it down by 50% what we are charging. That would be not only for the poor households, that would be a big, in fact, increase the destination for investment and employment post-COVID times. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. What about the views of the other panelists?
Can I?
Yes.
I would say that Saubhagya scheme has scored very well in terms of the accessibility, but when it comes to the energy trilemma, we can't separate out the affordability, security, and sustainability. I would rather say that all three have to go together, and that is where probably what even Rajesh was trying to say. Saubhagya scheme or other schemes, whatever it is, all the three things have to move forward, and now all the three targets are within the achievable range of India as a country. We just have to push in for all the three, just not that we consider any one of these things in isolation or in separation.
Can I?
Okay. Mr. Sen, do you know how we can sort of address this issue through renewable integration?
I just wanted to pitch in here. Since we have given connections to each and every households, the question is, how does the clean energy transition help here? In my view, the solar will provide an ideal solution. It can be put up anywhere, any place, so it can strengthen the local grid. Probably the distribution companies, and generally as a country, we can raise awareness that use energy in the daytime when solar is available. For example, there is a huge energy need for cooking. Most of the rural areas, they collect fuel. Now the LPG has gone everywhere, but still people are not able to afford it despite a subsidy of nearly 50% on the cost of LPG. With the same subsidy, probably the cooking needs may be met, because most of the rural areas, people do cook in the daytime. Maybe some habits have to change. Maybe a time of day tariff. The daytime, whenever the solar is there, you charge at a lower rate, 3 rupees. It will meet the agriculture pump needs, the pumping needs. This is one of the major needs in the rural areas. The other is probably cooking that can be done. And of course, some of the rural industries can come if power is available at 3 rupees and a reliable power, because most of the rural areas, power is not very reliable, even though connections have gone. The reliable power is available. Many of these small scale industries, which mostly operate in the single shift a day, can migrate to the rural areas. And this will solve also a lot of labor migration to the big cities, where industries are there primarily because the energy is available. So clean energy, especially solar, will to a large extent solve this problem. We need to have some kind of a strategy to ensure that solar comes in a decentralized manner for meeting the rural area needs. Most of the demand is shifted to the daytime. That habit, some kind of change in habits will become at night. It is the lighting need should be taken care of by the other energy. If the wind is available, fine. otherwise the normal coal-based energy till the storage technology develops. So I think to a large extent, it will solve the, it will cater to the increased energy needs of the rural areas. The people need energy to increase their productivity, and that can, if that energy is cheap, which is solar. I just wanted to correct Saurabh. Saurabh said levelized tariff is about 3 rupees 50 cents. Not so. The 2 rupees 44 is the standard for 25 years. It is fixed. So maybe in the decentralized manner, it will come a little higher. The 3 rupees what is quoting for Maharashtra, it will be around that rate, depending upon the state or the location. But definitely, even in a decentralized manner, solar will be available in this country below 3 rupees, and which is about 3 cents. And with that, I think most of the energy needs of the rural areas can be maintained. And the evening needs, because of energy efficient bulbs, because lighting is the major need in the evening in the rural areas. With that, with a lesser energy, we can manage. With this, we can create an energy transition, clean energy, also meet the energy requirements of the rural areas.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry.
Yeah. So I stand corrected. I take the point which Mr. Rajesh and Mr. Swain said. Maybe my information was wrong, but we've heard the supply side perspective. Let me give you the demand side perspective, which is also very, very important because low cost tariff, high cost of service. So what we are going to do, and that's something we have already created, is what we are calling the Gram Ujala program. The Ujala program was the LED bulbs that we sold 360 million. So this is a program that is almost finalized. We are going to provide energy efficient, very high quality LED bulbs, tube lights and fans. LED bulbs will be provided to rural households at 10 rupees each. And the balance we will recover from carbon markets. And again, I would like to thank ADB, both you and Priyanka, for helping us put together this whole structure. We have identified a few locations that we would like to start almost immediately. Our target is to do 150 million light bulbs in the next 1 to 2 years, and that's something will actually enhance the clean energy from the demand side in the rural areas. I just wanted to inform the audience here.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think let me take a few questions that came up from the audience. One of the questions is they would like to know how the Indian experience in clean energy transition can be sort of made use in smaller countries to promote the energy efficiency as well as renewable energy integration. It's an open question. I think probably you can respond. I think any of you can respond.
So can I respond?
Yes, please.
So, it's just a matter of knowledge. There's nothing great about what we are doing or what the whole world is doing. It's just a commitment, political commitment, which is needed. Anyone can learn from the Indian experience in terms of started with the political commitment that they want to achieve that target of huge renewables, and also taking a lead in terms of COP25 as well as ISA. So once the political commitment is there, solutions would come automatically. There are solutions. There are lots of solutions. There is so for that I would appreciate people. One is making a policy. The other is getting it implemented on the ground. So Saurabh has done yeoman service of getting it implemented on the ground, which is what is required. But it was just bidding which was called because the government had such a big target and investors saw a huge potential for setting up power plants. People who set up power plants. That is one. As far as renewable integration is concerned, it can be done. It is presently, even with 22%. The study we did in Gujarat and Tamil Nadu was during the monsoon time, and it was about 20 to 30% penetration. What we are going to see in India in 2022. So, considering that the states were already doing it by flexibilizing their thermal power plants, even though they are not meant for flexibilization, but there are methods of making these thermal plants flexible by some small interventions, not very expensive. Which have been experimented on NTPC plants as well as plants in Gujarat. But besides this, one of the most important, I don't know, are you going to take there's one question after this, because I'll be talking on that about expanding balancing area, which is the cheapest cost of method of balancing.
Before that, I think I would like to get Mr. Saurav's sort of feedback on how the ESL model can be replicated in other countries.
So, Mr. Pereira, it is already happening as we speak. So, we have done lighting programs in Maldives, in Bangladesh, and also we are starting in Thailand. We have taken the same model to Vietnam, where they are very, very interested. I mean, had this lockdown not happened, maybe we would have started this whole thing itself. The smart meter program is of immense interest to the entire GCC region, along with the streetlight program. And only yesterday we signed an MOU with an entity called GRD, which is a Gulf-based organization in Qatar, where we are looking at a whole portfolio of not just efficient lighting, but also carbon markets, because they, as you know, are hosting FIFA 2022, and they have declared that event as a carbon neutral event. They are looking at I mean, entities like us who can provide those GHG emissions. So we have already started that. Number two, we are also in discussion, in close contact with the International Solar Alliance, where we would like to take the Gram Ujala program that I just spoke about, for rural households, and also decentralized solar to a few countries. ISA has identified about 9 or 10 countries where we will be hopefully starting work very, very soon.
Okay, thank you. I would like to know from Mr. Swain, this solar park experience of India, can it be replicable in other parts of the world?
Yes, it can be replicated, provided they have wastelands, or even the lease models are also working very well in this country. Karnataka, we have a 2,000 megawatt solar park in Pavagada, where the farmers get about 25,000 rupees per acre per year, escalable by about 2 to 3%. And when we have scouted for more land, farmers are ready to give on lease, because in India, from agriculture, getting 25,000 rupees per acre per year in the rain-fed conditions is just not available. So it is a very good option for them. We can also, if properly the design of the solar plants is properly planned, we can have grasslands. At least we can support dairy, if not agriculture. But I am sure even the crops that thrive in shade, like vegetables, can be done under the solar panels. It is already there. So if not large-scale solar parks, India is a big country. It's a lot of land. We are a land of 320 million hectares. So small countries, smaller like 50 megawatt, 100 megawatt can be done if the grid is not very strong. But for large solar parks, you need a very strong grid. Otherwise, evacuation of that much of power is difficult. If the grid is not very strong, it can go decentralized. It can go in a leased model. Small park like 10 megawatt, where people can put 1 megawatt, depending on the capacity of the grid, it's possible. And we will be happy to share our model, our contract document, so that they can also do the reverse bidding. The strength of our solar park and the creation of solar capacity is our contract documents and the reverse bidding. We are very, very transparent, and because of that, we could get very good tariffs. It is replicable. It's not very difficult at all.
Okay, thank you very much. I think with this, I would like to thank all the panelists. We are coming to a close of this session. I also would like to thank my colleagues who had been working in India for last so many years, who contributed and who helped in organizing this event. That includes Mr. Jeevan Acharya, who led the ADB's assistance to ESL. Then Mr. Terusha Hui, who is supporting ADB investment in DISCOM. And then Mr. James Palantaraj and Mr. Takeyuki Sugimoto. And then Mr. Jyotimo Banerjee from our India Resident Mission, Mr. Kirti Chala, and Mr. Jigar Bhatt. Thank you very much, and we look forward to have our interactions and our collaboration with you as we go forward. And with this, I will bring this event to this session to an end. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Priyanta. Thank you, Pradeep. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.